morning, good evening, and good day, Croeso, and welcome to Flexy Fridays, your weekly roundup of the world of music as we perceive it to be here in sunny Wrexham. This week, we were going to be joined by our guest in person, but due to rising concerns surrounding COVID and me possibly having COVID right now, the decision was made to do the interview over Zoom. So without further ado, allow me to introduce you to today's guest, the Droid. How is it going, my dude?
Hello, Maya. Hope you're well. Nice to be here. Thank you for inviting me. Well, I say be here. It was going to be in here, but now it's virtually. So,
yes, man. It is a shame that we couldn't meet up in person. But I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us on the show today. And as this episode will be airing on Christmas Eve, are you enjoying the festive season right now?
Yeah, I mean, slowly but surely getting into the festive spirit, for everybody. It's pretty hard considering the past year it's been full of all this mumbo jumbo going on. So we're all kind of trying to settle down in very significant ways. And I mean, I've travelled back from Leeds to be with my family as well. I'm staying with my grandma, which is lovely, very nice to spend time as well.
Yeah, man. So how will you be celebrating this fine NADOLIG, which is Christmas for our non-Welsh speaking listeners?
Yeah, LLAWEN. So I'm going to spend Christmas Day at my mum's, which is where I'm at now, with my stepdad and my little dog as well, which will be very lovely. And then hopefully go to visit the rest of the family in the evening. But obviously everything's really up in the air at the moment, so it'll be last minute, whatever happens.
Yes, man. Well, I hope restrictions don't get strict enough that you can't do those things that you have planned. And whilst we are on the topic of Christmas, do you have a favorite Christmas song that you'll be blasting over your speakers?
Ooh, not blasting. However, I do like the Chris Rea Driving Home for Christmas. I mean, it's a classic, right?
That is a classic, and it sounds like that's what you were doing on your way back from Leeds recently.
I mean, it reminds me of the Gavin Stacey scene with Bryn singing it in the car, so I'm not sure if you've ever seen it.
Yes, man. Okay, well, we certainly won't be playing any Christmas music on this show, but I'm sure our audience would love to hear a tune of your own making. So right here, we have a little introduction to the sounds of the Droid. This right here is a tune called Subside, so enjoy this. That was Subside by our guest on today's show, The Droid, taken from the Subside EP, which is available for digital download on Bandcamp for any DJs that want to include these mad sounds in their sets. So tell me, how have you been keeping busy with your music lately?
Busy-wise, actually quite a lot going on. I mean, obviously collaborating with a lot of people, which will become apparent later in the interview. I've done a collaboration that's coming out on vinyl later in the year, next year even. It's flown by. So yeah, just keeping busy, staying at home, making music. I run a label as well, so I'm sure we'll get into that as well. So yeah, keeping busy on that. I run as a part of the label a bi-weekly mix series. So releasing mixes from maybe lesser known artists, maybe more popular artists, but just a platform where people can represent themselves through music, and it's pretty special. And that's taking up quite a lot of my time at the moment.
Oh, that actually sounds awesome. So what is the name of the record label that you are now running?
So this called Cyber Domain started off as a podcast series, a weekly podcast series, which was a lot of work. I'm sure you're aware, probably doing these. It's a lot of work doing these weekly things. So now it's a label. I run the label with my friend Zuren in Leipzig in Germany. So he produces under a moniker called Hardenberg. So that's good. We're on our second. No, we've just come out of our second release, moving on to our third. For the inaugural release, we released a big compilation full of, I think it was 18 artists. So that was fun. Hard work though.
Yeah, man. Oh, that's impressive. It sounds like this label's really taken off, which is really good to see, man.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying. I'm hopefully going to try and get it into a club in terms of events, hopefully in the new year. But obviously, I'm sure everyone knows that's a very volatile topic at the moment. So,
yeah, man. But best of luck with that. I'd love to see you pull through with that. Get a nice, decent, regular event set up where everybody knows where to come and hear some good tunes, man. So could you tell us, as someone that has released music independently as well as on a label, how important is it for producers to get signed these days?
Oh, thanks for asking me that question, because I feel very strongly about Bandcamp and the whole ethos of self-releasing your music. I mean, it's a tough one, right? Because obviously with a label, there is the idea of self-promotion. Well, they can promote you to a different audience and whatnot. But I mean, in terms of what they would do is release on Bandcamp, maybe it'd be good if they have a distributor as well digitally, so they can put your stuff on Spotify and whatnot. But then when it comes to independent releases, like I can't preach enough Bandcamp. It's an incredible platform to release music. People can pay for your music what they feel as well. It's lovely, and you can build a fan base on that. You can communicate directly with your audience essentially, and kind of link that into other platforms as well. So yeah, I mean, I personally don't feel it's as important to listen to release on labels even. I mean, it's a very cliche opinion, but I mean, it depends what you want out of it, right? I mean, they can promote you. That's a good idea, but I mean, I feel like trying to adapt to a label, make music for a label, it can kind of take away the whole idea of making music for yourself sometimes, and that's where Bandcamp hits a sweet spot as well.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there, and yeah, I think record labels were a lot more necessary when they were the ones printing the records.
Yeah.
I think that is sort of my view of it, but I'm kind of interested to ask about that then. So with your vinyl release that we will discuss in more depth later, but is that coming out on your own record label, or is that a different record label that will be releasing your vinyl?
Yeah, so this is a label based in Leeds called 2020 Vision, run by a guy called Ralph Lawson. Quite a big electro label. Well, it's a bit of a multi-genre label, focusing more on electro this year in specific. So that is another label that approached me on the back of another release as well. but obviously that is physical vinyl as well. So I mean, things like that as well. When it comes to vinyl releases, you can't necessarily self-release that. I mean, well, you could, but obviously money-wise, it's quite a big object. That will be the goal, of course. I'd love to do that. Lave cuts are a big thing at the moment. So like people doing dub plates on lave cuts and stuff like that. That's a good way to self-release stuff.
Yeah, man, I have noticed that happening. Um, so one thing that I always struggle with when it comes to identifying EDM is the subtle differences between certain EDM genres. So could you tell us what are some of the main genres of music you focus on, and how are these genres actually defined?
Yeah, great question. I mean, EDM, I mean, I'm sure we all know it is a blanket term as such. So EDM can be used to describe a specific genre of like kind of big room house, stuff like that, or just electronic dance music as a whole, which is currently like misconceived quite a lot. So I specifically make electro. So electro, I'm not sure if you know who Kraftwerk are. So Kraftwerk, pretty much, yeah, well, obviously, the pioneers of all this kind of stuff as well, and obviously you got Drexciya as well. So I can characterize electro as, I remember watching a documentary or reading something talking about how electro isn't really about the music, but it's about the techniques used to make the music. So like kind of robotic, like monotony almost. I'm not saying all of it is monotonous. My music is, but I kind of like to go down that route of monotony as well. It inspires me quite a lot as well. But yeah, I mean, electro, kind of broken beats, big snares, like to indicate like that. But I mean, that's easy to say about a lot of genres. I mean, electro can be four to the floor. It can also be breakbeat. So it's quite hard. And then define other genres. Who wants to put a genre tag to something? It's quite difficult sometimes.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. You know, I get very confused when people try to really define the different elements of these things. You know, often, I mean, I can identify drum and bass pretty easy, but
Yeah.
when it comes to the other stuff, I don't know. I struggle to see the subtleties sometimes, but it's always interesting to see because different individuals interpret it all differently, especially the people making that music.
Yeah, and
Um,
that's a special thing about it, right?
Exactly, exactly. It's a unique thing for every creator. So as one on a night out, often hears many different styles of EDM. As you say, the way I'm using that is in EDM is electronic dance music, not the specific
Yeah,
genre,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
term referring to all these genres of music that you hear in a club on a night out. But what music would a DJ have to be spinning to make you go, yeah, I'm sticking around till the end of this guy's set?
So yeah, electro is the obvious answer for me. I'd quite like to go to an electro night, and I quite enjoy an electro night. When I walk into a club, they're playing electro. I'm like, I am staying there. But also, I'm pretty into minimal house as well, which is like kind of stripped back house music, very minimal, very monotonous as well, which is cool. It's quite. It kind of goes back to what I'm saying really about um putting like labels to stuff. You can walk in a club and the DJ is playing something that wouldn't necessarily be a certain genre, but would still catch your ear. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. As long as you're enjoying it, as long as you can move to it. There's a lot of genres that in day-to-day life I'll be like, nah, don't really like it. But if I've had a few drinks and it comes on, I'll get well into a lot of
mm,
different sounds.
yeah.
So do you see many opportunities for up and coming DJs around here in North Wales?
So in terms of like scenes in North Wales, I mean, I don't really think there is a big one. You probably have to go to like Chester and stuff. They kind of bring underground events. So there's an event called Night Work, and that's kind of like underground, like kind of house and tech house. Um, Not really too commercial. I mean, no, I don't think so. They also do a festival in Chester as well, like a summer kind of thing. Like I think they call it Under the Arches, which is like a party under the arches. It's like a small little day festival. In North Wales, I'm seeing little events popping up, but there's not a huge scene, I don't think, especially where we're from. In fact, there was a party the other night in Prestatyn, which is probably 20 minutes away from me. A few of my friends were DJing on that. But yeah, I'd quite like to explore more going on around here. In terms of opportunity, though, I'm not entirely quite sure. And I know there's quite a big disco scene as well, which is worth looking into as well. But I mean, in terms of opportunity, it's all about kind of self-making opportunity. I think a lot of these smaller DJs that I know from around here are putting on their own events as well, so they can play them, which is a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. If you don't see opportunity, just make opportunity.
Yeah.
So what have been some of the highlights of your career as a DJ and a producer so far?
Oh, highlights wise. So I'll kind of go into DJing first. So a couple of months ago, about a month ago, I DJ'd in Birmingham with DJ called DJ a live act called Car Finlow. He produced quite a lot. He's fairly big in the electro scene as well. That was fun. That was amazing. Like the best people I've ever met as well. I stayed with. They were really incredible. He did a great live set. He's a very prolific producer as well. So I played after him, and it was incredible. That was probably one of the highlights that'll go through my life for a while, and it'll stay with me forever. In terms of producing as well, this 2020 Vision EP, the vinyl record that's coming out with my friend Lloyd Stella in the Netherlands, and my friend Eric as well. So that'll be fun. Highlights. I mean, everyone will make it in their own way. That's what I kind of tell people in terms of highlights. It's everyone's doing good in their own little way. It's not a competition.
Yeah, man, that's a nice way of putting it. So are there any artists that you draw inspiration from that you would love to join on a lineup one day?
Oh, it's a very interesting question. I feel on the spot saying that. Join on the lineup. There's a new actual artist. Well, I say new, but new for me, that I found based over in Barcelona called Dark Vector. And going back to what I'd like to hear in the club, the question that you asked me a minute ago, that's what I'd like to hear. The music that he does make, it's perfect for me. So yeah, him. There's quite a lot as well. My friend Lloyd Stella that I just mentioned, we're probably going to meet up soon, hopefully get in the lineup. So hopefully that can come to fruition. But obviously the times, we'll see. Probably a lot more, but I can't really think very much more at the moment.
That is cool, man. That is cool. And if you could perform at any festival, where would be the dream festival destination for the Droid?
The dream or destination or festival?
Like, which festival would you like to see yourself perform at?
Oh, interesting. I'll be playing at a festival next year called Shambhala. That'll be pretty interesting. I've not played at any festivals even, so I'm quite looking forward to that. In terms of places that I'd like to go, Dekmantel in the Netherlands, I'd quite like to do that. That'd be great. Maybe Dimensions in Croatia, that'd be great as well. So yeah, just two I can think of for now. But there's probably so much more, but we'll leave it at that.
I think the news about you playing Shambhala as well, that's pretty great. Like, I bounced around a few festivals over the summer, and I heard I didn't get to Shambhala myself. I'm not sure if that happened this year, but I heard a lot of people talking about it at the festivals I was at, and it's got a good reputation. Yeah, I hope that goes well, and I will possibly see you there next year.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
Hopefully it doesn't get cancelled again, but we'll see.
Yeah, we've just got to hope for the best with everything that's happening right now.
Definitely.
So you were actually one of the first people to allow myself the opportunity to try out my DJ abilities on stage. So do you have any advice for up-and-coming DJs that want to stand out from what is quite a heavily saturated scene of selectors in some parts?
Don't listen to anybody. No, seriously. I mean, in terms of standing out, obviously, I feel like you've got to stay true to yourself. A lot of people will kind of play what's popular. I mean, that's fine if that's what you want to do. But in terms of kind of standing out, I don't know if that's necessarily the best way. Just true to yourself, really. I mean, you're in it for the long haul. Why do it and not copy other people, but copy other people, I suppose. Just stay true to yourself, and people will see that you're doing it because you love it, and that will take you a long way.
Yeah, man, that's a nice bit of advice right there. I quite like this attitude you've got of just do you in this industry, and hopefully you'll get recognized. So this question is probably a bit off topic, but what is your opinion of drum and bass?
Yeah, I love drum and bass.
Yes.
I really love drum and bass. Actually, I was DJing in this place the other day in Birmingham, the other month even in Birmingham, and my set was followed by a drum and bass DJ, so I had to end my set on about 145, 150, so it wouldn't just go straight up. But it was amazing. It worked so well.
Yeah, man, I love a bit of drum and bass myself. But this is not a podcast about drum and bass. This is about the electro music that you are making as the Droid. And I think it's time we take a listen to another tune from the Subside EP. So this right here is Atom, a tune I particularly enjoy from this project, as it really shows the diversity in your sound. Like, as I was listening to Subside from start to finish, when this one came in, I was like, ooh, that's something different right there. Like, as it kicks in, really perked up my attention. So yeah, right here, Atom by the Droid. Enjoy. That was Atom by our guest on the show today, the Droid, who has crafted a unique sound taking influence from many of the genres currently dominating the EDM scene. Now, would you be able to share with us what is some of the hardware or software that you enjoy playing around with to get your sounds?
Hardware-wise, we've talked a lot about this, I'm pretty sure, me and you. We've had many conversations about hardware versus software. I personally use Ableton. Ableton is a way forward, I think, for a lot of people. It's a very easy thing to learn as well. It's available to majority of people, and it's fun, very fun. So hardware-wise, I currently use a Behringer RD8, which is a drum machine. Arturia Micro Freak, which is amazing. I call it the happy accident machine, and it is. A Waldorf Rocket and a Waldorf Strike Fet, which the Rocket is for basses and leads, and the Strike Fet is like a string synthesizer, and you new pads with it as well. But yeah, I mean, hardware-wise, you don't need a hardware. It's kind of a want versus a need, really. You can do it all in the box in Ableton. Some of my stuff is just in the box before I got any hardware. And yeah, I quite like doing it as well. And obviously you make music with Ableton as well, so I'm sure you can vouch how amazing it is, especially for beginner producers as well. Like, we live in a time where you can just learn anything online, and it's great.
Yeah, and I do completely agree with what you're saying about Ableton. It is, if you know how to use it, there's no limit to what you can do on there. It's just about having the patience to build up the knowledge, watch a few tutorials, and if you get stuck, watch another tutorial.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I do think hardware, though, it does often add an element to the visual side of a performance. Like whenever I've sort of seen you like performing or playing around with sounds and things,
the little videos.
Yeah, man, I'm always baffled. I'm just like, what is this device, and how have you figured out how to do all the little things it does, man? Some of these things, I see them and they just blow my mind.
Yeah, I mean, what I must say, it is good for expressionism, like in terms of like, it's a heat of the moment. You can feel doing stuff and heat the moment, whereas you can't necessarily do that with Ableton. Well, you could, but it's just easy doing it. You've got a more real feel to it as well. But I mean, whether they sound different, hardware versus software, you can all make that decision for yourself. Personally, I don't know. There's many arguments about this online, but we'll make our own decisions about that.
Yeah, exactly. And as long as you like whatever sound it is, it doesn't matter what the analog elitists say and all this, you know.
Yeah.
So let's get on to the topic of the vinyl releases, which
Okay.
I saw your first vinyl release was earlier this year, right?
Yeah, I think my first one was on a label called Intellectronic Bubble over in Greenland. They do lave cuts actually, so it brings back onto what we were saying before, like little like small run lave cuts as well. That was one of my tracks called Coming Down, I think. That was on vinyl, the first one. I've also done another with them as well, which is pretty good.
Nice one. And to be honest, as a bit of a vinyl junkie myself, I do think getting a vinyl release, and you're onto your second one now, I think this is a massive step for any producer. So how does it feel to be taking that step from digital download to vinyl release?
Yeah, great. It's really good to own a physical medium as well. Of like, you hold it in your hand and you're like, I've made that. I'm yet to have a full like EP of my own music on vinyl. I think that's one of the goals for the new year actually. But yeah, it like making this transition. Like, people will say that they'll only release on vinyl, only digital, but I don't know. They both got their advantages really. Whereas digital, you've got a lot of DJs that are only digital, and also a lot of DJs that are only vinyl. So it's tough.
Yeah, yeah, man. But respect to you for making an imprint on the vinyl scene, man. Seriously, I am, yeah, happy for you with that.
Much
And I
appreciated.
noticed, what did you say there? Sorry.
I said much appreciated. Thank you.
So I noticed another name which you have mentioned and is associated with your vinyl releases is Lloyd Stellar. So are the tracks on these records all collaborations between the Droid and Lloyd Stellar, or are some of the tracks your creations and some of them their creations?
No, so they're all collaboration tracks, every single one of them. The way it worked is, I think it was I was at home last Christmas, staying in my grandma's house, and we got offered this release as well. So I put like little ideas together and then send them over to him, and a couple of hours later there'd be a track. So yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah, no, I think that's interesting. Artists all collaborate in different ways and get such different results, and yeah, it's intriguing to get insight into how that goes on.
Yeah, it's very interesting compared to how me and some other people collaborate. So I've also got a collaboration project called Droid, which is Drum and the Droid. So Drum is a Polish producer. We'll collaborate in similar ways, but I'll send him 2 ideas. He'll send me 2 ideas, and we'll have an EP at the end of it.
Yeah, so very different approach there, but yeah, man, I've heard the Droid project. Yeah, man, that was really cool. I enjoyed that a lot. So yeah, I certainly think our audience is going to enjoy hearing how the Droid and Lloyd Stellar have collaborated on the upcoming vinyl release, which, by the way, is available for pre-order right now on Juno Records. So right now we have an exclusive listen to the title track of the upcoming release from the Droid and Lloyd Stellar. This right here is Rise of the Machines.
Machines. Machines.
That tune right there was Rise of the Machines from the upcoming project of the same title from the Droid and Lloyd Stellar, which I say again is available for pre-order now on Juno Records. Support local music and support the ongoing vinyl resurgence. So, for the Flexy Fridays audience that have enjoyed this episode, could you tell us how to stay up to date on all things the Droid related? Or, of course, related to your record label, just anything relevant to what you are trying to get out there right now?
Yeah, certainly. So in terms of upcoming releases on the label, we've got a release coming in January or February, either one, and that'll be coming from Lloyd Stellar as well. We'll be doing a cassette release. We release digitally and on limited edition cassette. So you can find us over on Cyber Domain Music on most of the digital platforms. And on SoundCloud, it'll be Cyber Domain again. And then the Droid. So I'm on Facebook. I'm on the /the Droid UK on pretty much anything. So I've got a release coming up on LDI Records, which is Lloyd Stellar's label, as Robo Droid. So we've got a collaboration with two very special remixes, which I can't wait. I can't quite share who they are yet, but that'll be interesting. We've got the first Robo Droid album, the one I showed you, that's getting re-released on vinyl. It's two of them tracks are getting re-released. And in terms of what else is going on, we're going to try and get the Cyber Domain events kicking off as well, coming to a city near you. Yeah, so that's pretty much it, what I've got going on, and we'll see where 2022 takes us all, which is very intriguing.
Yeah, we can only hope for the best. A better year than this one in 2022. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But yeah, very exciting to hear what you have going on, and I'll be sure to link any relevant social medias or websites. So anyone that wants to stay up to date with yourself and your sound, just check the description to the video. There'll be some links to do so. And before we disappear to go and get very merry this Christmas, are there any words you would like to leave with the fans of yourself and the Flexy Fridays audience?
Oh, well, just thank you for giving me the platform, giving me time to be here and listen to what I've got to say. So in terms of people who are aspiring artists, DJs, just listen to yourself, listen to what you want to do, just stay true to yourself, find out who you are in music, and people see that, trust me.
Yes, man, wise words from the Droid. So many thanks to our guest on the show today. It has been awesome having you on, and really nice to catch up and see what you've got going on. So yeah, everybody stay up to date with the Droid. He's an absolute legend. And as I said before, gave me my first little go playing around on the decks on a stage. So I got big respect for this guy right here, even though my sounds were probably a bit heavy for the things we were doing, but
that was fun. Memories. A lot
yes,
of memories.
Man, all good times. And of course, many thanks to our viewers and listeners. Your support means so much, and be sure to stay up to date on all things Flexy Records by checking out the links on our Linktree in the description. Now, I think it's time to disappear and go and spread some Christmas cheer. So take care, everyone, and NADOLIG LLAWEN.
Look after yourself, everyone.
Yes, I.